Hi guys, it's Emily from Novell Novels and welcome to today's video. This is my December wrap up part 2 and what a month it's been, excuse me. I have had one hell of a roller coaster month. We obviously had what happened to my cat at the start of last week. We had the kids that have been at home more because Thomas had been to isolate because of a case in his class. We have had school holidays, we've had Christmas, we've had another lockdown, we were out of lockdown, then we're in lockdown. It's been one hell of a roller coaster ride. So understandably, I only read 29 books this month. But with all of that, I'm not going to beat myself up. Some of them have been really good and I've got to say I'm really blessed by that. Now, let's get on with the stats. I read the 29 books, but only 19 of them were from my physical copies or unread. The other 10 were borrowed or rereads. I bought 21 books, so considering that there's only a difference of 2, so I'm quite happy with that. Going forward, that'll sort of be quite close to the goal that I'm aiming for next year. But I did get gifted 28. I will be doing a December vlog haul, which will be coming up very shortly. I will also be doing a 2020 wrap up, which I've already planned. I've already got some lovely statistics there, and I'm quite happy with that. That will be coming up on Wednesday. But because of all that, my new unread TBR is now 442. Which has gone up by 30 from last month. The words, oops, oh no, that is not great. It's a very big amount of books, but you know what? They make me happy, and something going forward I'm going to learn. I need to be happy. My kids need me to be happy. Not the stressed up mummy that I'm feeling right now in filming on New Year's Eve, when I can't wait for them to go to bed and I can have a stiff gin. I think all of us parents are looking forward to that. So let's get on with the genres. You guys are going to be surprised what my top number of books genre read has been this month. It's been incredibly surprising. I've read 2 non-fiction, 4 contemporary, 4 thrillers. That's really impressive. That's mystery and thriller. So that will go nicely with Kate's read along that she was doing. 5 chick lit, 6 historical fiction. Then I read a total of 8 fantasy books. Yes, most of them were either middle grade or YA fantasy, but that is still an impressive number. I never thought I would love fantasy, but I really do. Admittedly, I like it on the middle grade to the YA genres, but I love them and they are perfect for me, perfect escapism and just what I've needed this month. Now, I'm going to tell you the number of star rating books I've read this month as well, and I'll show you the books that match this. I did have a DNF this month, which was quite unfortunate. It was this, 13 by Steve Kavanagh. I read this around about the time that City was very ill or dying, and it was not the right time for me to read this. I had to be gentle on myself. I don't feel like my mental health is right for a crime thriller like this. But it's a DNF, but it's a DNF for now. I will go back to it at some point when I'm ready. I'm gutted as it was on my 5-star prediction, and I'm not right in the right mood for it right now. Let's pray things get better and I can give it another go. But I will leave it until I'm ready. Now, I've had 2 2-star rating books this month, and this is my 2-star for the second half. It's A Christmas Surprise by Justine Gardner. I wanted to love this book. Charlie said I would like it. It's a mystery. I think she said it was she said it was mystery. So that's where I've counted it for. The mystery or fantasy? I can't remember. I know I counted it on one of them. I think I might have actually counted it on fantasy and philosophical. Mia's going to laugh, I can never say that word. But this is, the young boy finds a faded homemade advent calendar in the bookshop. A piece of paper falls out with the first window, which is written the first part of an extraordinary story about a small girl who travels back to Bethlehem and the birth of Christ. Didn't grasp me, didn't get me, didn't like it as much. I didn't hate it as much as I hated Sophie's World, but I didn't enjoy it. I'm really gutted, Charlie, but you're going to have that back. Just realised Mia's walked away now and I can have 2 of my other books. Then a book that I bought Charlie for her birthday, I think she only rated it 3 stars, and I'm now on my 3 stars. I've read a total of 6 3-star books this month, and I'll show you the ones that I've written this half. This is a real mix. It's a non-fiction, it's a real bag of bones. The first half of this I liked, book about books. I liked the first half. The second half I found very boring. Didn't really grasp me, didn't really have me enticed. I flew through it because it wasn't one that I was in depth into like I normally did go for with the books that I love. So Charlie, you're going to have that one back. Then my next 3 stars is one that I have only just finished today, the 31st, so it just about got on here. The Very Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. Now, I don't know if it's a film or a TV show. I think I might have liked that better than this. I couldn't really get to know the characters. I don't know if it's because it was the last book of the month and I just wanted to get it over with, but I didn't really connect with it, so it's going back to the charity shops. Gutted. A 3-star that was probably one of my top 3 stars is this. This is a lovely historical fiction Christmassy book about 2 lovely ladies, Tess and her grandmother Edie. And this book spanned over quite a few years of time. I think it's spent about 10 to 20 years. When we start off, she's a young girl. She's just been returned from being evacuated, and she's getting bullied. And she gets rescued by Snowy White, and he comes to her rescue, and she thinks all her troubles are over. And she goes back to the farm where she was evacuated and has her lovely friend Jonty. And then Edie ends up having a romance, which happens very early on, and it's their lovely stories. It's beautifully linked to lovely leading ladies who really show you that life is what you make it. Let's enjoy ourselves, and family is important. And family isn't just blood, by the way, so a little hint on that one. But this is a really good book, but it is going to a charity shop. A book that Charlie lent me ages ago. I was gutted I only gave it 3 stars. It's one of Gemma from Reader Book Gem's favourite books. Didn't love it. It's about 20 years, 2 people, Dexter and Emma, and every chapter is from either of their perspectives that one day over the 20 years. And they start off as teenagers and almost like the first love that never really happened, and you see how their lives change as to how they develop. Dexter is from a bit of a well-off background. He has his obstacles, he has his own problems. Emma's from a slightly less well-off background, and their friendships. And Emma, to me, I love. Dexter, I found, was a spoilt brat, and I wanted to smack him around the ear holes half the time. But it's a lovely book, but it was just 3 stars. I read it with Olivia from Olivia's Catastrophe. That was good, but it was just not the book. I did think reading it with her made it a lot better than reading it on my own. So, but yeah, that's charity shop. Another one Charlie lent me last year that she's finally getting back. This one, which is a selection of short stories, memories of Christmases, and past hopes and future ones. Average. Some stories are really good, some stories not. I am not a big fan of short stories, so I don't think I'm going to push myself to read that next year. But this is alright. Average. Some were amazing, some were not. Charlie, you're having that back. Now, a book that I buddy read with Gaia, Bernard and Sarah. A romance, Sophie Can Sell Up. It is a very typical chick lit. I think I said it was 3 stars. Yes, nope. This is on my 4 stars. I'm in my 4 stars. And I got a total of 9 4 stars this month. This was good, but I think I reread it. Because I didn't reread this book, it counts as from my physical TBR. But it's a lovely, cosy romance. It's about how we show the world that the life we want people to think we're having, not the life we're really having. Your roots, lovely romance. Some real funny bits that I cracked my head up. I just cracked up laughing in so much of this book, which I really did need this month. And there was so much of this that I was laughing loads. But I liked it. It was 4 stars. Good, cosy chick lit. But I must admit, this is going to a charity shop. Now, I'm gutted I didn't like this more. Now, I listened to this book on audiobook originally. My Husband's Secret by Leah Morris Darty. Now, you guys know she's one of my favourite authors. This is probably my least favourite of hers. We start off, mother of 3 and wife of John Paul. Cecilia deserves an old envelope in the attic written with her husband's handwriting that says, "Only to be opened in the event of my death." Curious. She opens it and time stops. That story's really good. That story I loved. But then you also have another story of a girl whose husband has decided that he wants to get with this girl's best mate, cousin, whatever. And there is a lot of fat-phobic comments at the start, which I hated and didn't feel appropriate. And this girl's storyline didn't really match up with the rest of it. And didn't really like it. I'm going to keep it, but not one of my favourite Leanne Moriarty's, I'm afraid. Still 4 stars, but not one of the best. Now, another 4 star. One I only finished last night, sorry. Frost Heart by Jamie Littler. Another one of Charlie's books that I just crammed into last night. Charlie said he was reading it. Charlie from Charles Heathcote. And I loved it. Fantasy. 4 star fantasy, but really good one. Far out in the coldest parts of the monster-infested snow sea, Ash waits for his missing parents, with only his grumpy Yeti guardian for company. But when an accident reveals that Ash has amazing powers, he's whisked away on the Frost Heart and explores with an explorer sleigh with a daring mission who needs his help. Loved it. 4 stars. Not the best fantasy, but still really good. Really enjoyed it. I now want to read the second book in the series. Really enjoyed that. So that's another one back to Charlie. What I loved. Oh, it's 4 stars, but I'm thinking it's 4.5 again. The next 2 were they were just so good. This is The Quality Street Girls, set in early wartime in the Quality Street factory. We have 3 leading ladies. I now want to read the second book in the series. Rennie Calder is delighted to land a seasonal job at Macintosh Quality Street practice. She feels like a kid let loose in a sweet shop, although it's not long before Rennie falls foul of the strict rules. And we've got beautiful Diana, who runs the Toffee Penny line. Diana has a dark secret which, if exposed, could not cost her not only her job but her reputation. And this is a really good book. Really, really cosy, Christmassy, wartime book, but does tackle some really hard-hitting issues. So don't think this is going to be an easy read, because it isn't easy, but it's brilliant. Loved it. But again, it's going to go back to charity shop because it's still 4. But it's one I'm glad I read. And the author's lovely, by the way. She was messaging me on Instagram and I thought she was really nice. So that's another one. Oh, another Christmas book that I loved. 4 stars, but again, top end 4 stars. The Christmas Party by Carol Matthews. It's my first Carol Matthews and it didn't disappoint. 4/4.5. It was really, really good. It's all based around the Christmas party. And a lot is packed into just before the party and after the party. And it is one hell of a journey packed into one short space of time. And it's really good. Louise Young is a devoted single mother whose only priority is providing for her daughter Mia. She had to pick it up, daughter Mia. Louise has a good job in a huge international corporation and she's grateful for it. But the only problem is her boss, who she can't keep her hands to herself. But Louise can handle him, or she doesn't have the time for his romance until she meets the company's rising star, Josh Wallace. This isn't just about them though. It's got some other really great characters and it's a really good Christmas book. And I'm going to get back to charity shop, but I am definitely looking for more Carol Matthews books to read the whole of next year. Then probably the best 4.5 star book, An Orphan in the Snow by Molly Green. I need to find more of this author's works. This is a wartime book again, about an orphan, and it's about snow, and it's Christmas, and it's set in a St Bernardo's home, Dr Bernardo's orphanage, and it's about a lady. At the start, her sister gets killed. She's accidentally killed by her father, and June Lavender sees this, and it's the start of 1941, and then June couldn't save her sister, but she wants to go to the work in the Dr Bernardo's orphanages to save more children, to help the children like she couldn't help her sister. This is a brilliant book. The orphanage, when she goes into this orphanage as a nursery nurse, and she sees a kid there that's really suffering, and she wants to help this kid. She wants to help all the kids. Her character reminds me of one of my best friends, Helen, because Helen's a teaching assistant, and she was a nursery nurse, and the way she has that bond with the children, the way my mum again has that bond with children, the way reminds me a lot of the fostering, where you've got children that arrived at you in some states and you saw them grow, you wanted to bring the best out in them, and that I think was why I love this book a lot. I will be giving it away because it was too hard hitting to reread, but it was a fantastic book and one I'm really glad I read. Now for my 5 stars. I had one that was my only 4.5 star rating of the month. I had 11 5 stars, although the second half was nowhere near as good as the first. So I've only got about 4 to show you. First one is Aristotle and Dante discover the secrets of the universe. LGBTQI+ romance in this. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Dante can't swim. Dante can swim, Ari can't. Dante is articulate and self-assured. Ari has a hard time with words and suffers from self-doubt. Their relationship is lovely in this book, and it's one I'm really glad I read. Another one borrowed from Charlie, but I really, really enjoyed it. So Charlie's got another book. This is so hard. This was nearly on my favourites of the month. The Christmas Saurus by Tom Fletcher. Charlie lent this to me. Didn't have time to read the second one, but next year I will be reading it. about the Christmasaurus. It's a middle grade book. I don't need to go into too much detail, but it is every bit as amazing as everyone said it was, and I thoroughly loved it. Heads up, this does have disability rep in it, which I really loved, and I think it was done great. Also tackles grief, it tackles some hard-hitting issues, but it's done beautifully, and Tom Fletcher is an amazing writer. This was done one of my favourites. It wasn't my favourite because I read lots of middle grade. Middle grade was probably my top genre this month, I think. But I don't count that as a genre anymore. I count that as an age range. I'm not going to count YA and middle grade as genres. And then I finally nabbed Hollowpox off Charlie. Bloody loved it. 4 stars. It is not a favourite of the month because for me, because of the pandemic we're currently going through, there was a lot of references to lockdowns and isolating and sudden things and the fear that it's not going to get fixed, and fear and how fear creates a wall against us, how no one wants to go near each other. It's just that bit sort of thing was really hard hitting, but it was bloody good. It was every bit as good as the other ones. I really loved it. Brilliant book. So I've got a really dry throat now. And now my favourite of the second half of the month was The Christmas Surprise. Heads up, it's going to be in my December haul because I bought it. I read the second Rosie Hopkins Sweet Shop book this month, and I couldn't wait to get this third one, so I bought it on ABE Books, a second-hand bookshop. And it's the third in the Rosie Hopkins Sweet Shop series. I can't tell you much about it because it is the third in the series, and everything that happens in it relates to the other 2 books. But it is every bit as amazing, if not better, than the other 2 books. I wish she had written a 4th book in this series. And I put a review on Twitter about this and said how amazing it was. And the author Jenny Colgan put me hearts and wished me happy Christmas. Jenny Colgan, you're an amazing author. And if she ever watched this, she made my Christmas when she put hearts on that. Authors that communicate with their fans are amazing, and she really earns all credit to me. I want to read more of her books this year, you know I do. 2021 I'll be reading a lot more Jenny Colgan because she is a new favourite particular author, and she's every bit as amazing as I wanted her to be. So that is my fact, and just a heads up, this is my favourite Christmas book of the year, although very closely followed by The Christmasaurus. And my favourite non-Christmas book of the month, one of my favourite fantasy books ever, is The Castle of Tangled Magic by Sophie Anderson. Yet again, another author that I know and love. I've loved all of her books, and this is every bit as amazing. And I spoke about it in my first wrap-up, December wrap-up part 1. But guys, what was your favourite book of December? What has been your favourite point in December? Let me know in the comments below. As I'm watching this, I was on 649 subscribers. I have jumped a lot this month, and I can't thank you all enough. On a tough month, you guys have made it so much easier, and I love you all so much. You are a Christmas gift to me, you guys, and this community on here. So thank you. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel and not subscribed yet, bring on my ding-a-ling. I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.